All right, and welcome back, everyone. We are now in phase 4 of this getting back to fitness phase after having a rib and a back injury. And today's session, we're actually going to start to test the waters a little bit. So currently I'm just doing a bit of a warm-up, nasal breathing, just putting the gear a little bit higher there, picking up some intensity, just raising my heart rates, my respiratory rate, getting some oxygen around the body, but also just getting some blood flow going as well. So we're going to move into some mobility, some stuff, just making up some flow stuff around the spinal cord and the back. My physical therapist says that I need to work on that a lot. Yeah, playing around with some new things there. And then just going into a bodyweight movement session, and then trying to do some circuits, some more dynamic work related to what moves I might come across in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So obviously Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a ground game, but it also involves getting on the ground, moving on the ground, kneeling, standing up, getting back down again. And I want to just start to test my back to see where it's at. And what we'll finish with is we'll finish off with some circuits of core work, because when you have a back injury, it's usually because there is a lack of core work. So I need to start to implement that, and we have done. And we'll take you through a few circuits, and I will talk you through what we are doing. So we're going to jump straight into a little bit of mobility to get some moving now. 5 minutes of warm up, and then straight into just getting on the roller. Yeah, getting the ball into the glutes, opening some of that fascia up, cracking the back, essentially going into doing some own osteo work and getting some movement into that stiffness. I am very stiff when I first wake up in the morning, and if I don't spend time really moving and opening up and kind of just stretching and getting some fascia open, twists into particular positions, then when I work out, I just feel really stiff. And that is when I'm going to be at a point of risk of injury. So this is just rolling the glutes, the hip flexors, and underneath the hamstrings, just to observe myself there. Beautiful sight for you all to see. And spending a bit of time on the ground, on the left side, quickly on the right side, and then essentially we will move into the first few sessions. So you can see there, I'm just trying to get deep into that glute, right into the gluteal, and just breathing through it. So we'll jump on ahead now and just move into kind of the next phase and do both sides of that. We're going to pick the heart rate up, but also just starting to try and get light on the feet again. Got the camera angle a bit off on this one. Just skipping, just getting some more dynamic kind of stuff. I weigh 106 kilos at the moment, and I'm just not fast. So skipping is a good way to help me to improve just being light on the feet, as well as getting the heart rate up. And this is just opening up those hips. You can see it here, my body is pretty rigid, and just moving those hips around really just helps with that spine, those glutes, and just feeling into where the tightness is, right? Just opening up those joints. So doing that both sides. Another thing that was noted in my physical therapy assessment was just that my ability to move to the left and the right with my lats is just also very stiff. So this is just going to be a staple part of my warm-up now, my movement practice when I get into, before I train, doing 10 to 15 minutes of this before I get into the challenging thing. And this was just completely made up. It was just, right, let's just feel into kind of like moving that spine, flowing into that spine. You can see I am not very flexible, but so you have to start somewhere. And yeah, I look like I'm dancing. MJ, here we go. And yeah, this is just like feeling into it, feeling where do I feel stiff, and just allowing body to flow into those positions, being very intuitive. That's pretty much how I do my movement sort of stuff. Of course, getting light on the feet again, just opening up those hips and that groin area. This is very typical of what you might see from soccer players and rugby players, just jumping around, opening the gate, closing the gate. I am not very, my fitness is gone. You can see here that I'm doing movements, but I'm pretty heavy. I'm slow. My my training fitness obviously needs to get back into a good position. So this is getting me back to being able to get back into training, but then also getting back into rolling fitness is a different situation. Just some static stretches, hamstrings, opening up the upper body. Again, just playing around before we move into kind of some circuits. So let's just skip ahead and we'll get into the circuits now. So the first movement I actually did was I thought I could do some kind of burpee sprawls, jumping with this kind of medicine ball carry onto the shoulder, 5 a side, so 10 in total. And this was actually quite tasking. It was good fun. Obviously, just jumping down, dropping into that sprawl to try and protect yourself from getting taken down, and then also jumping up and picking up weights, adding some load to my back, and of course having to try and keep stable with that core in the middle again. It's just going to start to test the waters of what I have in my ability, in my capacity, which is really what I wanted to do. So we went from 10 of those, moving straight into like mountain climbers, but also having the ball on my hand on the ball either side. I think I did 10 either side, and then switched over. And that is just to I have shoulder stability issues, but that's just to add a bit of shoulder stability to the session as well. This was, again, just jumping over, trying to improve my dynamicness of just being able to move a bit quicker whilst keeping the heart rate elevated, and finally just some lunges. Lunges are a drop into the knee. Lunging is just a functional movement that we all need to do, but it's also keeping my heart rate elevated and helping me to build some of that cardiovascular endurance that I'm going to need when I get back into rolling again. So my breathing here is just, I'm keeping it nasal in, mouth out. Heart rate's probably up around about 165, 170. So now it's getting to high intensity, and then just moving into some kind of press ups into side planks. Again, these circuits are based around trying to engage the core whilst being dynamic, but also building cardiovascular fitness for 5-minute rounds. So they were the movements that I performed, and I did 3 rounds of that. Each round lasted around about 4 minutes, and I probably had a 1 to 2 minute rest in between before moving into the next phase. And this was basically working on core. So just shoulder taps, 20 shoulder taps, trying to minimize the rotation in the hips, keeping that core engaged. You can see here I'm starting to sweat, keeping breathing, getting into that deep core so you continue to breathe through the movement, and then straight into some dead bugs. And these dead bugs were 24 in total, keeping the hands up, trying to basically keep that bottom back part of the back flat on the ground, as well as keeping the core engaged, and obviously then dropping the legs out. As you drop the legs out, pointing the toe, just as if you're cycling. I'm probably going a little bit fast for how I should go here, and I think I realized that halfway through and slowed a little bit down. However, this was burning. This was pretty painful, and I was knowing that I'm only halfway through the 5 exercises I'm going to do. So we started off with the shoulder taps, moving into dead bugs, and then into some Russian twists. So just had a 10 kilo dumbbell just to add a bit of resistance, and this was actually quite challenging. After having doing that, I was already burning in this position, which I enjoyed. And then I think I did 10 of those and just some hollow rocks. So hollow rock holds. You can see my face, and that just there, you can see that burn, you can feel that burn. Yeah, keeping those toes pointed, core engaged, back flat, and then moving into some leg flutters to finalize that. Again, doing 3 rounds of that was nice and challenging. See that burn there. Finishing off, we just moved into some down regulation breathing. I particularly enjoy a cadence of 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out, just as a recovery practice. So we can just jump into this, and if you want to follow along, we can do. So just getting yourself nice and relaxed. Actually, what I noticed here is the music I had in my ears was quite bumping, and it was just spoiling my ability to get into a calm state, because it was quite fast, 140 BPM hard trance that I was listening to when I was training, that I enjoy when I'm doing high intensity. And right now I'm just being aware of the breath. So I'm just focusing on my breath and just observing, allowing the breath to do what it needs to do with the mouth closed, just to a point where it's starting to recover. So once my breath gets down to what we call a gear 1 in our breathing system, where we will basically just have gentle nasal breathing, that means that my body is in a position where it's feeling recovered, and then we're just going to down regulate a little bit further and just try to relax all the body as it is. So however long it takes you to get that breath back to a calm breath again is actually a very good indicator of your fitness. The longer it takes, the less fit you are. So right now I'm just slowing down. The faster this recovery, the fitter you are. That's quite obvious. And we're going to move into a 5 second in, 7 second out in a moment. Just a few minutes of that. So 5 in and 7 out. And we're just taking a breath diaphragmatically in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I try and make those ribs expand on the inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just relaxing all the shoulders on the exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Each inhale, just in for 5. On the exhale, out for 7. I'm just going to leave you be if you're getting involved in this now, and just try to focus on really expanding that rib cage at the bottom, breathing the air into the base of the spine through the nose, and on the exhale just relax all the tension and just allow your breathing just to get you into a state of calm. Feel your heartbeat dropping, feel your muscles relaxing, and enjoy the last minute or so. And when you're ready, just take a deep breath in through the nose, let it out the mouth. Give yourself a bit of a shake off, and then open your eyes. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this. Click and subscribe. Any comments below.